Oh, wow.
And so you're still in Macedonia. Do you have two places where you have the summer someplace else?
Yes, I have the summer house in Montenegro, but I'm actually here now. Today I'm here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I cannot go to the sea now. Everything is closed.
Oh yeah, that's the same here. Everything's really shutting down here.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is for people that are listening in. This is the Paranormal UFO Consciousness Podcast, and I have Aneta from Macedonia, and I have Janet from right outside the city where I live here, and we're going to be discussing orbs because that's one of the big subjects. So can we sort of well, first let me ask you, I sent the photo the other day, or I put it on my Facebook, the one from Tress from Scotland. Did you see that photo?
You're asking me?
With the big, yeah, well, either of you can jump in.
Oh yeah. Yes, I saw them. Yeah, great pictures and yeah, beautiful.
Wow. So let
that
me
was the one from her son, right? She was the grandmother and the kids were playing. That was that great big orb.
The big giant one, yeah, with the size of the backyard. That was,
yeah.
There's just, so let me ask both of you, we maybe start with Janet and then go to Aneta. What do you think the orb thing is all about? Because I was in this since 1975 and I saw an orb, but it was much more sort of physical type thing from about 50 feet away. I was going to jump on it. I told the story. But there really, at that time, the word orb didn't even exist. We were calling them ground lights. The Canadian government was calling them monitors. And so what do you think about the orb phenomena? Is this new? What's your impression of what's going on? Because both of you do a lot of photographing of orbs. So start with Janet. What do you think orb is all about? What's your impression?
My impression is that they are some kind of energy or spirit. I wasn't aware of them until we went down, Miles and I went down to Sedona, and we were lucky enough to go out on a UFO watch with Tom Dongo down there. So Tom has a long history and just knows a ton of stuff. And he was talking to us about orbs, and he said out on that location, for sure, we're going to get orbs tonight. And of course, we're both intrigued. So he was taking pictures, and there was a lot of orbs around Miles and myself. And he says, wow, I've never seen quite that many orbs around people. So we were hooked after that. And then I guess it took me about a year later to figure out whether I had orbs on this land that we live on, because I didn't know when we were in Sedona if those orbs were sort of initiated because of Tom, because of his energy, or if they belong to the land. So you never know, right? So then I started taking pictures out here and sort of mentally, you sort of talk to them when you're out there. And so we started to get a few, and then more and more. And the more we leaned into it, the more you get. So I think there's an energy on our land, a little bit of a historic one. So I don't know if it's attached to that or if it's attached right to the person as an antenna, or a combination of both. But it is, I think there's spirits or other dimensional, because now when I'm starting to take so many photographs, there's so many different kinds. There's mists, there's colors, and yeah, I'll let Aneta talk now.
Yes, I agree with you, Janet. For me, with my experience, sometimes they presented the ships present themselves or transform themselves first in orb, then they take form. Sometimes there is a vehicle where you can see and meet. In my case, it is. There are two types of orbs. I have this. You saw my pictures. Usually flying big balls, orbs. I think they're vehicle and it's extraterrestrial, but I have just only one picture with a different type of orb, and it was a few years ago. And in this orb, that was my a few months before my mother passed away, and this orb was my mother's face, and it was the only picture with the face of my mother that was different with the other pictures I have of orbs. Their vehicles, they are, I don't know, they're very, very intriguing, subject is about the orbs. Energies, beings. Really, I need more time and experience to find it out. I don't think I will find it out because every time it's something new and new and new. But I think it can be many things. Yes.
So both of you are photographing. Janet, you're using a point and shoot camera, and Aneta, you're using an iPhone. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a cell phone. It is a cell. It's not an iPhone, but it's a cell phone. I think it's a Samsung, something like that. Yes.
And Janet, you're using you actually use a number of cameras, right, Janet? You have, because Miles helps you. So describe the kind of cameras you're using.
Okay, so a point and shoot camera, and I'm not, I don't know a lot about cameras. So some of the information I'm using comes out of the Orb Project book, the Michael Ledwith Klaus Heinemann book. So it's just a little, I've upgraded. I've got a Canon PowerShot now, so they're just little point and shoots. So the first one I was using had a plate in it, or a plasma plate in it, called CCD, I think. And Klaus talks about that in the book as being sensitive. However, the new one I bought, sensitive plate, is called CMO, I think, or COM, CMOS. And the new technology on that seems to be equally sensitive to the energy. So the new camera I have is excellent too. Miles has an upgraded one, and his pictures of orbs come out as a tinier point of light. And in the Heinemann book, he talks about cameras having hot mirrors in them, and the hot mirrors are put in there to filter out the infrared energy. So I think that filters out some of the orb energy. So the point and shoot cameras don't have the same amount of hot mirrors in them, and I think they're sensitive. So in his book, he talks about you need only a few photons to register on the sensitivity plate. And so, not that there wasn't orb pictures before, I think, when people were using film, but I think the new technology, the sensitivity to just a few photons, really has come across with the point and shoot cameras. So the new one I bought, I think, was $220. But yeah, it's equally as good as, and I haven't had much luck with my cell phone. Now, I know lots of people do, so is it the person's energy? I'm not sure. Combination, maybe?
And you're using a flash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Always a flash. And in the Orb book, I really like this Orb book. And if people are interested in it, it has quite a scientific background to it. And because the gentleman that wrote it is a physicist, and he's researched it. So he says the flash fluoresces the orbs. So the orbs are already there. They don't necessarily generate their own light all the time, but when you use the flash, it fluoresces it, as in reflects it back. So that's his explanation on that, which is interesting.
And Aneta, you're using a flash as well?
Yes, I do, as well as this infrared camera I have, and the results are amazing. But unfortunately, as I said before, we are here closed from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m., so I cannot go outside so freely to take some snaps.
Wow. So you describe the infrared camera. What is that all about?
Well, my son gave it for my birthday. He bought it for my birthday, and it is I don't know now the name of the camera. It's Italian. It's got some Italian name. I don't use flash normally here. There is no flash. And this is a binoculars and infrared camera. I can make also pictures with this. Yes, and it's quite yet new for me. I have still to learn to use it when we will be free again to go outside. And I think I will have this possibility to get more pictures and videos. But of course, there's no light. This camera doesn't have light.
Okay. So before the shutdown, you were filming every night?
Yes, every night, every night.
Wow. And Janet, you're shooting every day now?
Lots of days, lots of evenings I go out. I'll miss a little bit here or there, but yeah, it's not unusual for me to go out even in just 45 minutes to walk up the road and click off 100 pictures, as long as your flash lasts, right? when the battery conks out, then you got to go home. And it is hard.
And you're on a farm area. You're out in the country, so you can sort of move around, and there's nobody around and stuff like that. You don't really have the city lights to contend with and stuff like that.
Right. So we've got 5 acres out here. So when you and Desta and Mark came out for the Orb shoot, we were shooting just in the backyard and around that area. In the winter, when that's kind of filled, well, hopefully filled up with snow, right? In the winter, I just walk up the road, and there's sort of certain areas that are better than others. So that's what makes me wonder if the energy is either attached to ley lines or some kind of earth energy like that. Still figuring it out, you know. I have thousands of pictures, right? And now I'm still trying to see the patterns. Of course, there's patterns, but yeah, you get addicted to it, and then you go out and you think you've seen it all, and then a new something new shows up, and you're sort of right back to square one, just as curiosity as hooked as ever, right?
You get hooked. You and Miles have a Facebook site. What's it called for your orb stuff? What is it called?
It's called the Orbs of St. Clemence. Okay. And so, yeah, we love to have people look at this stuff. So what I'll do is I'll do some shoots. Then we'll go through and pick out and enlarge some stuff. And Miles is really good at doing all the posting and that. And just, you know, to get people aware that there's they look like many different things, right? There's mists, there's the veils, there's, you know, there's lots of things going on. So keep an open mind. Love to have people look at it, because I think more and more people are getting hooked on it, or it seemed to be more prevalent, right?
It's almost like they're opening the veil. And Aneta, you have the same sort of you have a whole complex of stuff. Janet, they have we'll talk about that in a minute. She has the mist. You have a lot of the mist ones, but if you've seen Janet and Miles photographs, the mist is like sand. It's like somebody made that comment that they said, oh, they're just taking sand and gluing it to a piece of glass, shooting, because that's what it looks like. It looks like sand, but it's only part of the photograph. It's very clear, the edges on it, and it's very granular, whereas yours is mist. And you've gotten things like, you've gotten the beams, you've got beams, you've got the whole thing. Can you describe sort of the collection of stuff you've got, Aneta?
Well, before I take pictures, it is like, you know, the will and the love to go outside and to take the pictures. Sometimes it's like some kind of pull, and I go just outside, and my heart explodes, and I take this, I shoot just these pictures. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just loving what surrounds me. And then comes this sort of fog, mist, which is, yes, completely sort of different from Janet's. And these rays and the ETs and the orbs. And sometimes it's like, you know, I was at the beginning, I was thinking maybe it's a vapor from something but it is, you know, mostly of the pictures, they are done outside, and these pictures that I have, the fog pictures, they're in the when it's cooler in the winter time, so there is no vaporing anything outside, and I was, I had this doubt. And these pictures, I mean, this fog, I have in 2-3 pictures, and then it stops. Then comes the orbs, and after that, I have this rays. Not all the time, but there are sometimes some nights that are excellent, unforgettable. I have everything from everything that I completely, of course, don't understand. I have to learn. But sometimes it's like, it's like loving to go outside and enjoying the universe and the air, the trees around. And I think when you have this intention and when you have the feeling, because the both go together, the consciousness and the feeling, the heart connection, then you will have and meet and invite all the universe in your garden, in your backyard, uh, whenever you are. It's amazing. But you have to connect your consciousness and your feelings. And sometimes I get these messages by feelings. Sometimes when I'm shooting these pictures, I'm thinking about the earth. I'm thinking about the animals. I'm feeling the pain of the animals and of the earth and the people actually right now in this very hard period for the whole globe, this COVID thing, the suffering and the limitations of the freedom of thinking. It makes me crying sometimes. It is, like being happy, be loving and crying. It's the minute after that you feel sorrow. It's terrible thing. It's terrible thing. But yeah, I will get to the point what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
You have your intention and you have your feelings and you invite everybody. That's the secret. That's that's how we are connected. That's how I saw that everything is connected.
Wow, beautiful. And so you have the love. You always mention that love is the basic core of the attitude you have to have when you go out there, correct?
Absolutely. It is the highest frequency. It is the connection, the energy of the connection energy of everything. Because it's, for example, when you do a simple, whatever job you do, when you put love and the passion in it, then you will get a perfect, beautiful results. When you put love and this high frequency love, and you have everybody and everything around, and you connect to everything, and that's what we must learn. That is our lesson here, everybody's lesson.
Beautiful. You mentioned the death of your mother, and I know that Janet had a son die, that she has some contacts and stuff going on. Is there a connection there? That because sometimes when I wrote contact modalities, I talk about this ripping of the veil, that you have a trauma event that seems to open things up, that you said, like near-death experience people have the near-death experience and suddenly they're surrounded by paranormal phenomena. It's almost like they sort of rip the veil. Do you think there may be something in terms of events of people dying that is tied into this, that makes it open up a little bit?
Absolutely, absolutely. uh, I felt my mother's spirit inside the house for almost 8 months, and I also did this picture from her. I felt her. I knew that she was all around me, and after some period of time, then she's gone. But be, be, before the loss of my mother, I lost my father. That's how I started to do this C5 protocol and meditations, and I think that period opened, gave me a chance to open up a little bit, to be more sensitive to the things. I've got a trauma, yes, with the loss of my father and also loss of my mother, and I think it's correct. These traumas can open up more to the unseen, things, and believe me, they are existing. And I don't think there is a death. I saw it. I didn't have a near-death experience, but through my life experience, by losing both parents, I saw that there is no end. Life doesn't end. It's just an energy transformation. Now today you are here, and then tomorrow you are somewhere else, but you're not dying.
Wow. What do you say, Janet?
For sure, the trauma event, and I think it is part of the learning curve because all through my life, different paranormal things have happened. So you start with recognizing that. Just a quick aside, I was on a school trip that went to England, and just some strange things happened. I was looking at a picture in a store window, and it was just a pen sketch. And all of a sudden, swoosh, I was in that picture. I was dressed like a Roman soldier, and I was looking over this wall, looking at these other Roman soldiers, and I couldn't figure out why I was hiding from them because we're dressed the same way. So, and then, whoosh, I was back out of the picture. Then at that time, we also went to Stonehenge, and that would be in 1975. They were still letting you walk around around the stones. And I just had just a scary experience there. I didn't want to get off the bus. I was nauseous. I could not walk into that stone circle. It really, really bothered me. I did end up going in there, but I got out as fast as possible. And then another incident happened in a castle where I knew what was down the hallway and in this room, although I'd never been there. So that happened to me at 15 or 16. So I think all the way along the line, your mind is taught or you recognize these things happen. So when you all the way through and past lives, right, you start to explore that stuff. So for me, when I got to the trauma event of my son dying, I was very much aware that he was not gone, that the energy had transformed, right? Yes, I felt him around and things go bump and there's a knocking on the window. And I, had this a port thing happen one time. So there's all these tweaks all the way through my life. So when you get to the end of to the trauma event, I think you understand it a little better. And I think that the orbs might be sort of the next stage of my learning because, it's been a constant one thing after another, just enough to keep you tweaked and paying attention that there's way more. So I think the orbs show up as just sort of the next chapter of my learning. That's kind of my take on it.
I have to jump in here because I'm doing a book on ports. So you may have told me the story. Repeat the story about the port because I've forgotten it.
Okay, so my son's name was Barry, and so at one time I was doing some market gardening and taking our wares to the place in town where we set up the tent. We had all our vegetables on the tent, on the table there. So anyways, we're selling the vegetables, and my partner at the time, went somewhere and looked at some other goods, and then he'd come back and I'd go and look at some other vendors. So when I came back, there was this bear on the table. So it was a composite bear, probably 6 inches long, 4 inches tall. And I said to him, "Did you buy this bear?" And he goes, "No, I didn't buy it. I thought you bought it." I says, "Well, I didn't buy it." So then I took this bear and I went around and talked to the vendors, right? Did maybe somebody set this down? It's a small market, so I talked to the people there. Maybe somebody had bought it and set it down. And nobody claimed it. And it's just like, my goodness, of course, Barry's nickname was Bear. We always called him the Bear. And this bear showed up and it's just like, are you kidding? And he was a bit of a character, so he would be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't recall that story. Thanks for that. One more thing before I go back to Aneta. You do metal art. Is that your orb thing on the wall over there?
Yes, it is. So remember I told you the story about when I was out walking and I'd get these beautiful mists of orbs, and I said, of course I'm talking to the orbs, right? I said to him, that is beautiful, but I don't know what to do it. I need more definition. So when I was walking back to the house, that spot on the road, I took a picture again, and then there was one quite defined where the orbs were sort of all put together. And so I just laughed and I said, that's exactly what I need. So for inspiration, right? So I come home and I make this and work on it. And I've had several people, right, look at that, and they're just stunned and they're like, I want one. And I haven't told them the orb story. I haven't told them what it is because they may not be open to that.
Yeah, it's. I remember you telling me you were going to build it. You were going to build the orb because you have all sorts of metal art that you do on various subjects. You have some Sasquatches and you have all sorts of stuff. Beautiful
Yeah.
stuff. So it's
Oh, thank
interesting
you.
to finally see it because you told me you were going to put it on the wall. You were going to build it. So we'll maybe put a link in there because people may want it, and I'll maybe use that for the thumbnail for this session because that's
That'll be
beautiful.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, let me ask about this video. I think I sent you the book that Chris Peters, he's Barbara Streisand's stepson, had. He's got the orb stuff, and I sent it to both of you. The link. I'm not sure whether you read it, but he wrote a book, and when I saw the stuff that he's photographing, he described it a little bit different because I've known him for 3 years. He described when this first happened. He contacted me. And I really didn't believe who he was and found out, yeah, he is actually who he says he is. But when I saw it, I saw Aneta stuff. I go like, wow, that's exactly what she was photographing. Even the edge of the roof, the way he photographs off the edge of the roof, and Aneta's photographs always have the edge of the house on it. And so, what do you think about that, Aneta? Were you kind of felt a little bit vindicated that somebody's photographing basically the same stuff you're photographing?
I'm happy. I'm happy there are a lot of people. I mean, the other persons who are having the similar pictures. I mean, the same pictures, not similar, but the same, actually same pictures as mine. And it's incredible. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
And he thinks, yes, it's very interesting thinking about the event that he's having, about the God existence and angels.
Yeah.
But it's very curious. I would like to hear more about that. But
Yeah.
I'm happy that somebody else who is taking the same pictures as mine. Absolutely, people should know.
And can you see yours? Because he describes that he sees them. And the way he was describing it to me, they look like stars. And he talks about the government planes flying around and stuff like that. But when I looked at it, I didn't see stars. I see what you were seeing, where like in some of those photographs, he's got like, 50 different things all moving in different directions. And just really reminded me of the stuff that you were photographing. And he has the same sort of stuff, like he talks about God and angels and stuff like that. But he even had I don't know if you know the story, he had the experience with his wife seeing the 5-foot owl in the bathroom. And I said, 5 foot?
Wow.
Was it 5 foot? And he said, yeah. And I said, because most people will describe a 4-foot owl. And so he went to grab his cat. His wife called him into the bathroom, and he said this 5-foot owl was sitting right on the bathroom countertop, and he ran to get his camera, and when he came back, the thing was gone. So it's that same sort of thing. So if God is appearing as an owl, he has the same sort of thing, and it's this giant mystery, almost like I have the theory of wow, where they just want you to go wow. They're doing these really weird things, and they're making you think. They're making you go photograph, and that's, I think, how they're raising consciousness. They're not really telling us what's going on. They're making us think about what's going on.
Yes, thinking about it, find it out. Be more curious.
Yeah.
Be more curious, finding out, and finding new ways of finding out. Yes, it's beautiful. I actually didn't have any animal like owl or some other kind of animal. I have this direct contact. For example, a few weeks back, I had a visit in my bedroom, and for the first time, this is the new group of people. I call them people. I'm not calling them extraterrestrials, of course.
Yeah.
And this, I couldn't see them. They were transparent. There were three of them, and they were talking, but it was not talk, like language. They were like, crickets when, this, yeah, it is the first time I have this contact grip. Absolutely. And it was beautiful, beautiful. Well, they shocked me because I was sleeping. And it once I waked up and I saw them, and yes, they say bye and I'm gone. I don't know what went that night, but it was, for the first time, it was okay.
Fascinating. Could you feel energy? Like, could you feel a positive energy? Or sometimes people will
Absolutely.
say that they knew they were males or females, and I always say, well, how do you know? And they just say, I don't know. I just know that there was a female or a male, or that there was three. So you're sensing. You're not really seeing. You're sort of sensing they're there, correct?
I'm sensing, yes, more about the before the contact. I'm like anxious, something like that.
Yeah.
I feel different, absolutely. And sometimes they come to my dreams. I'm dreaming about they are living or they are coming. I have a lot of dreams like that. And this special this last meeting was without of any uh, without of any call, without of anything. I just woke up in the middle of the night and I saw them in my bedroom. I couldn't sense. I think they were neutral, no female, no
Yeah.
male,
Okay.
but they were transparent. They were moving. I could see. I could see in the back of the shapes. I mean the house, the corridor of my house, and they were living. They were talking in this way, like crickets. That was
Wow.
very interesting for the first time.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you feel sort of honored like that? I had an experience last night, which I eventually will talk about. It was one of the most dramatic experiences of my life, but um, I just look at it like I'm the luckiest person ever to live. I mean, to have these experiences. Do you feel honored? And why do you think do you think there's a reason? Do they want you to put this out? Um, are you some sort of messenger? What do you think is why you and these kind of things?
Absolutely, I'm honored, and I think I'm honored, and I'm extremely happy that this is happening in my life. This is the most important thing that is happening in my life, of course, beside the existence of my son. Absolutely. I think I could be a mentor, messenger,
Yeah,
because yes, this is very interesting about this invitation of this meeting that you sent me.
yeah,
I will, if you let me, I will, I will
sure.
short tell you what happened.
Yes, go ahead.
The night before, I'm going like usually outside, and I'm seeing two stars. They're blinking. Of course, there were two ships. They were crossing by. After that, I'm going inside. Yes, and I'm seeing your mail, and your mail was dated the day before. I said, this is not possible. You
Wow,
know, it is like, that's why I was like, it was crazy. Which date, what time, when? I knew that they were signaling me that we're going to have some meeting or something will going to happen. And a few weeks before, I'm seeing almost every day double numbers, 1 1 3 3, like usual.
yeah,
And
yeah.
every time when we meet, it's happening. These ships are coming, they're blinking, and uh, I see your mail like it's not like you're sending me today. It was like you sent me the day before. It
Wow.
is a mystery, I really don't know what was. I don't understand. I was thinking the whole day today. I don't understand really. I feel honored and happy, and I think we should talk, and we should uh, we should find more about the orb thing. They want the orb thing out. We must we must find it out more.
It almost
That's what
shows
they
that,
want.
yeah, it almost shows that we're all connected. Yeah, on a level that we really can't see, that we have to realize it's all one thing. We're all like maybe even working together to do something.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow. Hey, Janet, you've not had being type events, have you?
Um, no, but it's interesting when Aneta was talking about hearing the voice, the talking. So when I was living on my own, there were several nights I would wake up and I'd hear voices talking. Like I thought maybe the radio was on. So you lay in bed for a minute. Yeah, I'm really awake. Yeah, I can still hear them. So you put on your house coat, you walk downstairs because you think like maybe the crazy clock radio's clicked on or something, right? You know, and you get down here, no, there's nobody here. I was at the place by myself, right? So that's happened several times. So, you know, once again, that's very interesting. I don't know what it is, but I think all these clues and all these things happen if you're open to them, because sometimes life gets very mundane, right? And you think, is this all there is, really? And so when these events happen, and it's interesting and it's very mysterious, and boy, it makes you think. And that's, you know, that's what keeps life very interesting. Now, I think we're really fortunate that we can start talking about it now, because so many people will not talk about it because it was a bit taboo. Where do I set this down? People, right, roll their eyes and all that. So, like Aneta was saying, I think it's time we start talking about this, because once you open that door, people have all those kind of incidents. And finally, once you bring up the subject, if they're open-minded, everybody says, oh, well, and then this happened to me. So people have these things happening to them all the time. They just don't know what to make of it, and they don't know who to talk to. So that's why we're thankful for you, Grant, that you bring this stuff out and a place to talk about it.
But you have gotten people involved. You've got all sorts of people taking photographs now, right?
Well, yeah, you guys were out and it was fun. I mean, I was hoping to do more, but with this COVID thing, right?
Yeah,
We're kind of, but I would love for more people to come out and take this, because you get like-minded people, whether it's CE5 or people that's had experiences. I really think people would love to have orb pictures, you know? So maybe you just got to connect with the energy, because you do have to be very loving and very open, and go in with intent and a huge heart. And then you will see, like on some of those granular pictures that we took, when you start blowing those up, you see there's little zings of energy going in all different kinds of directions. And then you see the energy morphing into little discs, and it looks like a whole universe out there. So when you start to see the wonder of that, we are just so naive, and so we really need to dig into it and get over ourselves, because we're just a bump here. You know,
you had a relative. I remember you showing me photographs of some relative that was out photographing now. Was it your niece or somebody, or?
oh yes, so my nieces came and stayed with me I guess 2 years ago in the summer, and they're very open to this. And so we were out photographing with the girls. So then the girls go home, and well, I hope I'm not telling tales out of school here, but onto the farm where I grew up. And these girls are taking amazing orb pictures on their own, right? They go out, they get the giant red orbs, you know, they go out, they've got all these pictures with multicolor orbs in it. And I'm standing there with my mouth open, because lots of their pictures are way better than mine. And it's just like, wow. So if you can plant that idea, and they're very open to it, you know, so you get the next generation thing going. You know, I really think we just need to be open to these things, because it's there, whether you believe it or not, it's there, right?
Yeah.
Your belief doesn't determine, it may make it show up, right, your intent, but it's there. So I think it's time we talk about it openly.
Yeah, I think the veil is opening. What do you think? Do you think that we actually are at a point now where they don't lock you up, that people may not really believe it, but they understand that there are a number of people having experiences and orb stuff? And it's almost like I refer to, like when the New York Times did the article on the UFO program for the US government. I remember in the old days, people used to say, oh, if they ever said the government was was working on it. UFOs are real. People would jump off bridges, people commit suicide. All the religions would fall apart. The stock market would melt down. And then, of course, the New York Times put the article out, and what happened? Absolutely nothing. Everybody went, yeah, I knew that already. It's like,
Everybody goes, yeah, and
that's where they do it. It's sort of, I say we're sort of no different than any other social or political movement, whether it's gay rights or African American rights or whatever minority, that they didn't have an easy time. It's not like they just got a free ride. They had to fight. People made bad movies about them, made bad jokes about them, and this sort of thing. And in the end, it just got to the point where we're doing, oh yeah, okay, so what? I mean, it's like people just get used to it.
and I hope that's where this goes, because it's time. Keep an open mind, right? Remember at one time when I was in school, all they did was talk about the solar system, and there's nothing else out in space. Well, that couldn't be so far wrong.
Yeah.
And it's happening in our lifetime. See, that's what amazes me from the time, right, in our lifetime, how much of a change we've seen. And I think now we can go further. And if it was just one type of orb, you could maybe try and explain it away. But there's many kinds, right? Like there's as many animals in the jungle. There's that many kinds of orbs because there's probably that many dimensional creatures out there. You know, what's your thoughts, Aneta?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. People should open their minds because, you know, I would like to say that a lot of people still thinks that they should exist on this realm, on this earth. You know, why should be only you here? It's that no sense. You know, there's a lot around you, but we have to open our eyes and we have to find it out, be more curious about it, you know. And I think the times are changing too. But what makes me afraid still, it's, you know, this government's agendas. You know, you make a pictures of the UFOs, and you know the next day, ah yes, they will attack you. They are bad, and they, I don't know what, they are taking people and they are killing people. That's what I'm afraid of. You know, what could be happen next.
Yeah,
But we
people are,
must be, yes, sorry,
yeah, no.
we must,
Yeah,
yes,
I think you're right. People are the government people or military people. Everybody, it's all about money for whatever your thing is. So if you're military, you see everything as an enemy. Everybody's an enemy. Everybody's a bad guy because that's how you make your money. If there's no enemy, then you don't need $730 billion defense budget. They don't need you anymore.
absolutely.
So you have to play
Absolutely.
that game. And I actually did may do another podcast on this where they basically gave me a message because you hear all these stories about the government shooting them down, and I don't believe that's true. I don't think they're shooting anything down. The idea is that this phenomena is running the show. It is in control. And what they told me was, don't mess with us. Remember what we did to the government guys. If you remember the story of Skinwalker Ranch, and Skinwalker Ranch had all the orbs as well. They really didn't have any flying saucers, but they had orbs, they had the cattle mutilations, they had poltergeist stuff, they had apportations, manifestations, the bulls put in locked trailers, just really weird stuff. And the government went in there to try to figure out, because they wanted that technology. They wanted to be able to get that kind of technology for themselves. And that's when the special forces guys were walking down the road and they got the message that said, leave, you are not welcome. As if we own the property, we own this place. And if you know the story, they went back to wherever they lived, and the phenomena followed them, and there was wine bottles flying through the house, smashing against walls, and everybody they lived with moved out. It was apparently terrifying. And Bob Bigelow stated that when he said, when I saw what they did to the government guys, I knew it was time to sell the ranch. And that's when he sold the ranch. And that's the whole thing, is that this phenomena is very just, it's very fair, but it's not going to allow people to sort of use it to kill people and stuff like that. I still think they're running the show, and the message is that message is coming out. They're going to try to twist it, but that's where it's good about you two coming out is that people have to realize that's not what it's about. Anybody who's dealt with the phenomena, who's actually had an encounter with it, as I have, as you people have, you realize love is the core of this thing. It's messaging, and that's what they said to Bob Bigelow. They said to him, after it's all over on Skinwalker Ranch, what was the ultimate thing? And he said, it's all about messaging. It was all about messaging. That's what they were doing. They were messaging. Everything that happened there was about giving us a message. So you two are carrying a message that I think the more we talk about it, the more people realize that these people aren't crazy, and eventually everybody will come to the conclusion that we come to, that this phenomena is here to warn us about whatever, nuclear weapons, the separation in the world where we're not one, we're all fighting with each other and stuff like that. And so I think it's very important. Hopefully we can somehow get a day when everybody gets their camera, get Aneta in Canada, or we go to Europe or something, where we have these big events. Because you remember, Janet, we had the one with, Mark didn't have his camera, but I had a camera, Dest had a camera, you had a camera, Mark had a camera, and we're walking around this property. It was really interesting. We're walking around your 5-acre property, and everybody's shooting photographs, and everybody's standing there, all shooting the photograph in the same direction at the same time, and posing for photographs. It
was beautiful. Yes, this thing will end soon. Nothing is forever. Nothing is forever. What is bad is the shock that the people having. This limitation that we cannot travel, we cannot go and take a cup of coffee and chit chat. About these things. We must live in this period, but we're going to survive.
Yeah.
Everything will end.
Yeah.
And it is perfect. Yes, we go to Janet. Beautiful.
Oh, I love it. It was so much fun because after everybody took their pictures and we put the SD cards, Miles had the computer hooked up to the big TV, and everybody had excellent pictures. And what were we saying, Grant? Like we took 100 pictures and we must have had orbs in 99 of them. Like there wasn't a picture, not one orb, many orbs, right? And then Desta was shooting the fabulous colors, and I had a ball that night just showing, everybody, and we got to visit, and you're with like-minded people, so everybody's open, and the intent is good and kind, and the orbs showed up in droves, didn't they?
Yeah. I'm really happy for the two of you coming out and doing this kind of stuff, because I think this is what will change the world. This is the message that people need to hear. We got to keep repeating it, and it's just to me, it's like, what more could you ask for? That's when I was, and I don't know if you heard the story. I'm doing this book called The Super Bowl. That this is the story as, and in Europe you'd call it the World Cup soccer, the big game. And I said, I'm calling the book because it's these experiences, like this spiritual experience I had last night, which is the most dramatic thing I ever had in my life. And so I look at it and I say, I'm going to call the book The Super Bowl. And this voice comes into my head and said, of course it's called The Super Bowl. What the hell else would you want to call it?
That's a whole, Grant, that's a whole other conversation about that voice we all hear over our right shoulder. That could be a whole podcast in itself. And I know it's the voice because it's not my ideas, because I argue with it and it's always right.
That's right. That's true. It always turns out to be, it may take a while for you to figure it out. Maybe a couple of years down the road where you go, oh yeah, they told me this before.
Oh, I know. And it's present. And I've had that for a long time. And then you put it away and it comes back and it's like, okay, I get it now. I'll just listen, like, because it's right. And I know it's not my idea.
Beautiful. Anything else anybody wants to say before we shut down here?
Just quickly, I'm going through all my orb pictures, hundreds and hundreds of them, and I'm working on sorting them and categorizing them. So yeah, somewhere down the road, when I get my act together on that, that might be something to consider for a Zoom or something, because then people can see the different kinds of orbs and kind of get an idea what they're looking at, right? If not everybody's going to buy the books that that are out there on Orbs, not my books, but other people's books. But, once again, just a visual when I get it, to see the veils or to see some of those granular ones where you zoom in and you can see the energy going all in different directions. That I would be thrilled if anybody would want to look at that, because that might help, just turn the light on for people. Maybe that's the message too, eh?
Beautiful. Let's do that. And how about you, Aneta? You're ready to show some more photographs later? We can do another.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because
We should meet again. Yes.
You've got tens of thousands of photographs, probably.
Yes, more. It's more. I don't have space. I'm just buying new, memory cards and pull it so fast. Yes, yes. We should.
Aneta, some women collect jewelry. You and I would have no problem.
Orbs pictures. Absolutely.
Wow. Well, thank you both for entertaining me again and making me feel even more the luckiest person in the world to get to know people like you who are doing this, and to see these photographs and to hear the stories. I think there's even an expression: we are the ones we've been waiting for. That you're waiting for someone to come and give the message, to give us an answer, and we are maybe the ones that have the answer, that we find the answer within ourselves. And so I appreciate the fact that you are willing to share with me. And let's do it again. We'll do a podcast. We'll do a video with the orbs. We'll share a screen and we'll show some orb photographs and link in some more people.
That'd be great. Do you remember, Grant, when I first met you after an experiencers group in Winnipeg? I came to you and I said, this guy's going to know about the orbs. I'm going to ask him. He's going to have all the information.
And that was a weird story. I mean, you can tell the story of how we met. It was pretty weird.
Oh, well, so I never been tied up for the Winnipeg experiencers group, but for some reason it popped up on my Facebook, and it was, I think, on the Tuesday night, and I saw the ad for it, that you were speaking that evening. I saw this at 4:00, so it's like I said to Miles, we got to go in there. I've got to meet Grant because there's a bunch of things I wanted to ask you about these orbs. And so, of course, it was January or February. It was like minus 35. So we go barreling into downtown Winnipeg, and there happens to be a Jets game on that night. Well, gosh, there isn't a parking spot anywhere, right? We're driving around and around, and we know the doors are going to close at 7, and we have to get in there because it's our first time there. We don't really know how all this works. So once again, the little voice says, drive slow down this road. And it's like, there can't be a parking spot there because it's too close to the building. I argue with the voice. And of course, you're right, a car pulls out and there was the parking spot, and we made a run for it, and we got there at 7:00, and it's just like the odds were so against us, but it happened. And I guess it all happens for a reason, right?
And we will eventually have for Aneta, we have a group. There's, I think, 800 members or something that I started years ago, but we were going to have an event where everybody was going to come and shoot, but COVID stopped it. They're going to come to the farm. You're going to have one of the meetings there, but it's it's getting to be a fairly big group, which that's where we met. And it was these synchronicities where you run across these things that you just follow your spirit, follow your voice, you're getting guidance, and everything will work out in the end, and everything is perfect. And so thank you very much for
absolutely thank you, Grant. And I'm happy that you are, yes, great guy, writing and searching. And yes, thank you very much. Thanks from the side of the friends because they want you, that you write and make interviews and collecting pictures. And thank you very much. Thank you.
And we may do one when you go to your cabin or your second house, because you have a very beautiful area there with the water and stuff like that. And just last reminder, I always tell you, when you posted that thing where you're driving down the road there, and It's sort of on the edge of the mountain there on the ocean, and I'm going, you're going too fast, Aneta, slow down. It's like, oh, no, I'm just zipping along.
And I told you it is a small car. It seems like I'm going fast.
Yeah.
It's very small.
So
Yes,
maybe we can do one live from your deck of
absolutely.
your place. And it's
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful.
You're very welcome to come to my house. Yes, as soon this open up this
Beautiful.
COVID thing. And
Okay.
then we can
That's-
travel. Yes.
That's wonderful. We'll have an orb shoot at your place. We'll all go to
Absolutely.
your place. And have an orb shoot.
Let's try now that we are now closed. Okay, we are closed. But what I'm saying to everybody, just this is the time, as you said also before. In every bad situation, there is also a good situation. You know. So in this bad situation that we are all closed, we should go more deeply open, to go openly in ourselves. So
Yeah.
we will find all answers. So we should use this situation. You know.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It has, everything has a good side and a bad side. It's like you're being dealt cards, and it's how do you play the cards? You get good cards,
Absolutely.
bad cards, and you can make good cards out of anything. It's not, people are always trying to change the dealer. Give me a different deal. Don't deal me those cards. Deal me a different cards. And I think we have in some ways learned through this to find a positive and learn from it.
Absolutely.
So wonderful. Let's see. We'll put this out, and maybe we can have a thing where somewhere in the world, whether it's at your place or here, because a lot of people like to travel and they like to get together, and we'll have a giant orb shoot, and it'll be famous. We'll have all the orb people from around the world, and make a big noise, and everybody will know what's going on.
That'd be fabulous.
Absolutely.
Good to talk to you again, Aneta.
Good to talk to you, Janet. And Miles. Hi to Miles too.
Hello.
Beautiful. And do you sell your orb art there?
I haven't got quite there yet, but you know what? I've had several people talking to me about it, and so I think there's more of them in the making, because you want to talk quickly about a synchronicity. So here's something funny. So the other night, Saturday night, Miles was selling a jacket on Kijiji. So this gentleman comes out to buy the jacket. He asked to see the orb art. He owns a hair salon, and he features a different artist for every 2 months. He asks if he can look at my stuff. Everybody masks up. He comes in and he says, "This is fabulous. I've got this window on Portage Avenue. I want you for the Christmas season."
Oh my!
You know, and he wants to come pick out 10 pieces, and it just kind of blows your mind. Did that really happen? And so the synchronicities are crazy. What are the odds of this, right? So, and he's really smitten with those orb pieces. So I'm pretty sure I have to make more.
Wow, that's very cool. We'll have to profile some photographs of the windows when it all goes up.
Yeah, so just listen and go with the flow. Like I'm telling you, the universe delivers wonderful things.
That's the basic message I got last night. I can absolutely assure you it's under control. Everything's okay. Absolutely guarantee you. There's no doubt about it. The experience I had, and eventually I will write it up. Well, I'm going to try to write it up because it's quickly disappearing into the ether. So I've got to try to write it down.
You have to write it. You have to, sorry, Grant, you have to write it and tell about your experiences. We are talking about our experiences, and you just hearing. You're not talking about yours. It is very interesting to hear about yours.
Yeah, this was this was almost of biblical proportions. It was that dramatic. I mean, it was I was going after something else, and this came out. So I'll write it up, and I'll send you a copy of the chapter when it comes. I'll send both of you a copy of the chapter, and it'll eventually be in this book called The Super Bowl, which is what I think it's about. We're all playing in this massive game that when you realize what's going on, you realize this is the biggest story that will ever happen in the world. And we got to play in it. We got to be part in the front. We got to know what was going on. We got to play the game, take the photographs, and 500 years from now, everybody will know what we did, and how we were so lucky that we got to be there at the beginning and figure it out and stuff like that. So I think we're very, very lucky to be playing this game, and I'm honored to be playing with the two of you.
Absolutely. I
Thanks
cannot
so
wait
much.
to read about that. Thank you, Grant.
I'll send
Thank
it to you. I'll send it to you. You'll be very surprised.
Thank you. Yes,
Awesome.
I have no
Looking
doubt.
forward.
It's a cliffhanger for all the people listening. They're gonna go, "What's going on here?" Okay. Okay. Thank you, and have a good day. We'll talk to you later.
Perfect. Yeah,
Thank you,
take care,
Grant.
everybody. Bye for
Okay.
now. Thanks, Grant. Thanks, Aneta.
Thanks, Janet. Bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Grant.